must be a MAGA. You're a MAGA.
Look, I came to DC for the big parade tonight. It's not for like 3 hours though, so I'm gonna go try to find some protesters. First, I gotta find a Lime scooter.
You must be a MAGA. Success. You're a MAGA.
Look, I came to DC for the big parade. So per usual, all the roads are closed, which is great if you're riding a scooter because you can just pretty much ride anywhere you want. All right, so I'm here at the White House. The White House is there. And there's really kind of boring. I might have to go to the other side or head down to the Capitol building. Go around or go to the Capitol. Let's go around. Oh, jackpot. All right, I'm here right outside the White House. Well, not right outside the White House. They don't really let anyone get right outside the White House, but we're close enough to the White House that you can see, you know, it's in the background there. And there, look, there's all these protesters. These are all people that hate something. They don't all hate the same thing. Mostly they hate Donald Trump, but they all have different reasons for hating him. We're gonna go find out what they all are. We might be here a while.
Trump must go now!
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 His flag is upside down. I don't know if I should tell us. It's kind of embarrassing.
Trump must go now!
Are you Laura Loomer?
No.
Oh, I saw the bullhorn. She has a. I heard she was here.
Oh God, that's an insult. I hate Laura Loomer.
The lancet liver fluke lives in the liver of a cow and lays its eggs inside the cow's manure. There it starts an odyssey which somehow will allow this tiny worm to work its way back to her.
Look, the water's not selling too well, even though it's really hot outside, because it's ice water, and these people don't like ice.
The fluke-infested feces is then eaten by a snail, who turns the larval worm into a cyst, excreted by the mollusk in a slimy yellow trail. But the snail is only first on this fluke's list.
Your sign doesn't say anything.
Well, yeah, I don't want to be persecuted for my words.
You don't want to be what?
Persecuted for my words.
Oh, I get it. What's on your head?
Oh, he's Vietnam. Vietnam was Trump's first taco.
What do you mean it was his first taco?
Trump always checked out. He checked out 5 times for Vietnam. That was his first taco.
The taco theme is very popular these days. This is the third taco I've seen. Look, this lady, all she did was bring a Trump flag, but look at the crowd she got. Look at this. It's amazing. There's more people watching the lady with the Trump flag than whoever's speaking up there. No, the other way. The other way. Yeah, there you go.
Are you literally co-opting the POW flag? Are you seriously co-opting the POW flag for January 6th insurrection? Are you out of your mind?
She's baiting you. She's baiting you.
I know, it's working.
I'm running for Congress, as I mentioned earlier this week. This guy is also running for Congress. You're taller. Hold on. What's your name, sir?
Raymond Zupa, 1st District. I'm taking on Nick Greaseball Lolota.
Why do you not like Nick Lolota as your representative?
Because he supported the big, beautiful bill, which sucks.
Yeah. What don't you like about it?
What I don't like about it is the tax cuts, the deficits, the trillions of dollars in deficits.
What about the tax cuts for middle-class Americans and the $1,000 Trump accounts for newborn babies and the no tax on tips and the no tax on overtime and the $5,000 Social Security benefit? You don't like those?
I think it's a bunch of garbage. You
think tax cuts are a bunch of garbage?
I think those are fake tax cuts.
Wait a minute. You're a Democrat, aren't you?
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm an independent. What are you? You must be a MAGA. You're a MAGA.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I don't like taxes.
Here's my proposal.
Okay, what's your proposal?
My proposal is this: zero taxes. Nobody pays any taxes.
All right, I'm down with that.
Goes home. The military goes home. Highways, everything.
Well,
right?
Wait a minute. I think we need the military.
No, I don't think we do.
You don't think we need the military?
They've never done anything for me.
The military's never done anything for
No,
you.
never done a damn thing for
You're
me.
literally running for Congress.
That's exactly it.
You wouldn't be able to run for Congress if it weren't for the military.
Yes, I would. We have 330 million firearms.
We
in
wouldn't
this
have
country.
a Congress if it weren't for the Revolutionary Army. Let's get back to the no military because
If there's no taxes, who's going to pay for the military?
right. That's what my question to you.
Well, the billionaires are going to have.
So what's going to happen? What's going to happen when Russia shows up in New York Harbor and just starts unloading their troops?
What are they going to show up with?
I mean, they have a navy.
Right, they have no
What
navy.
about China? They've got a pretty good navy.
If they got here, they'd be shot to pieces. We have
By who? You're getting rid of the military.
my Benelli M4. It's a tactical assault shotgun of the U.S. Marine Corps. I own one. I know how to shoot.
But you're in New York. You can't shoot it in New York.
Yes, I can.
Not unless you want to go to jail.
It's totally legal. No, that's a lie. It's totally legal. I wouldn't. Why would I buy an illegal firearm?
But you can't walk down the streets of New York and shoot guns.
When the Chinese are invading, yes, you can.
Well, maybe if we had a military, the Chinese wouldn't invade.
Well,
gotta be honest with you, these protesters are really boring. Other than the one incident with Susan and the flag, there's not really much going on. I'm gonna get back on the scooter, tootle around, see what I can find. Okay. Hey, what's up, man? Woo! Oh, that guy knew me. You know, it's always exciting when you're doing something and somebody yells out your name. I was scootering down the street in Washington, D.C. with a camera on my face, and some dude yelled out, "Hey, Mark Kaye!" And I got to be honest with you, I felt a little like Casey Neistat. It was very exciting. What's up? This is Mark Kaye, Saves the Republic, fresh back from D.C. Yeah, you know me. And we are ready to save the Republic, the USA. Man, I got to tell you, this whole thing in D.C., I'm so glad that I went. Here's what happened. I decided... Not last minute, because I was going to go to this parade, months ago. When they first announced the parade, I said to myself, I want to go to this parade. So I was like making plans. I was checking out hotels. I was making sure the date was clear. And we had a party set for my son who's going to college. He graduated high school, and he's headed to school in September. And so we had a little open house so people could come by and drop off envelopes full of cash, and eat some food, and it was fun. And that was Friday, so I was like, all right, the parade's Saturday. I could leave early Saturday morning. I could get to D.C. in time for the parade. I could hang out. I could come back Sunday because it's Father's Day. And on Father's Day, we go to brunch at the club and, hang out and stuff like that. But anyway, so I was planning it in my mind. And then, of course, we found out that my niece, who is my son's cousin, wanted to come and hang out for the party and for the weekend. And it's Florida. And when you live in Florida, everybody always wants to come because you got the beach here. You got like the theme parks there. It's, sunny, warm, no income tax. It's amazing. Plus, you can drive over protesters with your car, which is something we were reminded of last week by Governor Ron DeSantis. So I say to myself, great, all right, I'll just skip the parade. We'll hang out with the niece because, family first. And then my niece canceled. And I was like, oh, game on. Called the airline or called the hotel rather. Actually, I didn't call anybody. I went on the app. I don't know who. I don't talk on the phone to anybody. So I'm guessing. I went on the app and I booked a flight. There was a seat left on the plane, which was amazing. I booked a hotel, also amazing, right down there in the heart of the city. And despite all the rain forecasting, all the forecasts, all the meteorologists, which meteorology is a scam. I should point that out. I don't know if I've told you that lately. You cannot predict the weather. Meteorology is not an exact science. It's not even really a science, I believe. And it's a bunch of scam. They're trying to tell you, watch this news or listen to this news and we'll tell you what's going to happen in the future. And anybody who buys into that, you can't, it's just hubbub. And then they hedge their bets. It's like the shell game. You know how like the guys on the shell game, they know, they move it around, they know exactly. It's the same thing. They go, there's a 50% chance of rain. And then if it rains, you go, wow, look at that. I'm so glad I had my umbrella because there was a 50% chance of rain. If it doesn't rain, they go, look, no rain. We told you it was a 50% chance. So we were right either way. It's really a horrible scam. But anyway, and Donald Trump, by the way, Donald Trump was onto that too. Donald Trump, when people asked him about, a reporter asked him at the White House about the parade and what he thought, and did it go off the way he said. Here's what President Donald Trump said about meteorologists being scam artists.
It's a tremendous success with a fantastic audience. It was supposed to rain. They gave it a 100% chance of rain, and it didn't rain at all. It was beautiful. And so I asked if they gave it 100% chance, right? 100% it was going to rain like crazy, and it didn't rain at all. How did they predict 100 years out and 50 years out or 200 years out? They didn't do too well, the weather people, last night, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. They didn't do too well, those weather people, but it was beautiful, and it was a great time, and a lot of fun had by everyone. And man, I've never been that close to so many tanks. I didn't know there were a lot of tanks. It was like troops, tanks, tanks, howitzers, couple dudes with drones, troops and tanks. And it was really, really great to see. And thousands of people lining the Constitution Avenue there for the parade. The rain did hold off. It was hot and then not, which was great. When it all started to rain, when the sun went down, it really cooled off, which was nice. They had water tents and cooling tents set up, so that there was free water for everybody and cooling tents. If you felt like you were getting a little hot, you could go in the cooling tent. And I'll be honest with you, the only thing to me was the standing for extensive periods of time, because I'm used to standing, but I was standing a lot. Like first I was riding the scooter, which doesn't seem like it takes a lot of energy, but you have to balance, and then, you get there and you're walking, you got to walk to the parade route. And then of course you have to stand there for like hours. And I didn't have anything to lean on either. That was the big thing. It wasn't so much the standing, it was the not leaning. Because typically when I did my radio show, I would always stand, but I had this big table I could lean on, or a chair. When I was on Constitution Avenue, all the gates were taken by like the kids, because the kids were short, right? So they put the kids in front. So I was behind a couple kids, and I didn't want I wasn't like, excuse me, and like shove them aside and lean. I didn't want it to be that guy. So I just stood not leaning on anything for 3 hours. And it was tough, but I did it, and it was amazing. And I'm glad that I went, because now I can tell you all about it. But it was, there were some really incredible things. For example, President Donald Trump spoke to the troops. He swore in some troops, some new cadets, and then he swore in some people who were re-enlisting. And he mentioned how great a fighting force we have here in the United States of America, and that the world should be, of course, constantly on notice.
Time and again, America's enemies have learned that if you threaten the American people, our soldiers are coming for you. Your defeat will be certain, your demise will be final, and your downfall will be total and complete.
Yeah. Total and complete downfall if you come after the United States of America.
Because our soldiers never give up, never surrender, and never, ever quit. They fight, and they win.
Yeah. And that is all true. That's why no one's really, that's why Iran's coming to the table, and we'll get to that here. We'll get to that here in just a minute. But then I got home and I started, editing video, which was Father's Day, which was lovely. And I hope everyone had a fantastic Father's Day. I was able to get home just in time to attend church with my kids, we had a lovely brunch. They did a dads and donuts brunch. And I ate donuts, which I probably shouldn't have done. And then, I went to go play poker, which was horrible. It just ended awfully. I left at like 2, and I leave at 2, and I go, well, guys, I'm going to play poker. I'll see you at like 6. Meanwhile, at like 3 o'clock, I'm out of money. And I was like, well, that was a massacre. That was definitely a massacre. So anyway, I went home and I decided this is God's way of telling me I should go home and edit my video. So I did that, did some work, and it was great. And then had a wonderful dinner last night. And now tonight we're back and we are continuing to do what we can to save the Republic. And I woke up this morning to a major announcement from the Trump Corporation, Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr. at Trump Tower. They announced a brand new initiative by the Trump Organization. Listen to this.
Great to have everyone back here on Trump Tower on this very fateful day, 10 years later. A lot has happened since then, and we're here to announce something pretty special. We've been working for a long time trying to deliver for the American people, for doing something unique for people who'd been underserved. And today we're here to introduce Trump Mobile. We've partnered with some of the greatest people in the industry to make sure that real Americans can get true value from their mobile carriers. A big part of what we've done right now in the world has been focused on technology for people who have been underserved, whether that's been in crypto or anything else. But one of the places where we felt there was lackluster performance was in the mobile industry. And so with Trump Mobile, we're going to be introducing an entire package of products that people can come, they can get telemedicine on their phone for one flat monthly fee, roadside assistance in their cars, unlimited texting to 100 countries around the world. And we've partnered with some of the best to really bring something unique to the American people. So
there you go. Unique to the American people. Trump Mobile launches a bold new wireless service for Americans. This is, by the way, from the Trump.com website. They have their own media website now because they can't trust the fake news. Alongside the team from Trump Mobile, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump unveiled T1 Mobile, a transformational new cellular service designed to deliver top-tier connectivity, unbeatable value, and all-American service for our nation's hardest working people. By the way, I should point out, this is not a paid endorsement for Trump Mobile. This is not an ad. I'm not a paid endorser. This is not a commercial. I would be happy if the Trump organization wanted to reach out to do live endorsements and to do live ads for Trump Mobile. They just haven't. I got to get my people on that. Anyway, pardon me. Here we go. The announced on the 10-year anniversary of their father's launch of his historic presidential campaign, Trump Mobile is a next-generation wireless provider with bold ambitions and a customer-first mission. Trump Mobile will offer 5G service through all three major cellular carriers. At the heart of Trump Mobile is its flagship, the 47 plan, which is available for only, get this, $47.45 per month. Because Donald Trump's the 47th and the 45th. I'm sure you probably got that. It is subscribers will get the following benefits: unlimited talk, text, and data. Now that to me is interesting. Unlimited talk, I don't care about because I don't talk on the phone. Text, I love, but I don't think I get charged for text anyway. And then data. Data is important. Data is important. Complete device protection, 24/7 roadside assistance through Drive America, telehealth services, including virtual medical care, mental health support, and easy ordering and delivery for prescription medications, free international calling to more than 100 countries, including many with American military bases, to help honor the families who are bravely serving in our military and abroad. Now that's cool. The internet, I don't really call internationally, but I know for families that have troops abroad, families who have, members serving, and they're always dispatched somewhere, either on a carrier or to the Middle East or to Ukraine or God knows where, Germany, wherever, Korea. I know that it does. That is one of the things that they're always asking for. They're always asking to donate, mobile service cards or telecards because those fees add up. And now here's President Donald Trump saying we're going to have unlimited free international calling to more than 100 countries. And all you got to do is pay the $47.45 a month. That's incredible. No contracts, no credit check, which is that's the industry standard. Well, no contracts are, no contracts, no credit check, I think is amazing. Trump Mobile is going to change the game. We're building on the movement to put America first, and we will deliver the highest levels of quality and service. Our company is based right here in the U.S. because we know it's what our customers want and deserve. Donald Trump Jr., EVP, the Trump Organization. Customers can make the switch to Trump Mobile with just a short phone call to 888-TRUMP-45. Trump Mobile's best-in-class customer service team based in the United States will be available 24 hours a day to assist. In addition, Trump Mobile's customer service isn't automated. When customers call, they're talking to a real person. This is kind of funny because Donald Trump's investing in AI technology, yet he has live people at his call center. You would think that they would be like, and we have fully automated AI. But no, they're like, forget that. We're going to do live people. Working with all three major carriers. They're on the largest 5G network. While customers can easily switch using their current phone, Trump Mobile is also excited to announce it will release the T1 phone in August. It is a sleek gold smartphone engineered for performance and proudly designed and built in the United States for customers who expect the best from their mobile carrier. Now, again, this is where it really comes in because, yeah, okay, changing your mobile carrier, maybe you're fine with your mobile carrier, maybe you're not, whatever. But when you're like, oh, there's a gold Trump phone, well, now you're cooking with gas, right? Now you're talking. So if you go to TrumpMobile.com, again, this is not a commercial. I am not getting paid, but I should be. I should be. I'm not getting paid, but it's available for pre-order now. Get ready to experience the power of Trump Mobile. Our made in the USA T1 phone is available for pre-order now. Reserve your phone today. Hold on one second. I got to mark at markkayshow.com. Hang on. I got to do one thing real quick. Request failed. Wait, what? Why did my request fail? Let me try my Gmail. Oh, no. It's not allowing me to. Wait a minute. I want to reserve my T1 phone. Oh, there we go. There's a $100 down payment. Let's see what it looks. Let's see the specification. I'm going to check out the specifications on this T1 phone. So it's $500. Okay, now that's automatically half the price of an iPhone. Down payment $100. 6.8 punch hole AMOLED screen. AMOLED screen. I don't know what that means. I know what LED means, but I don't know what. Anyway, 120 hertz refresh rate, 50 megapixel main camera. That's good. 5,000 mega amp hours, I think, long life camera, fingerprint sensor, and AI face unlock. Again, all fairly standard in the industry. 12 gigabytes RAM. All right. 256 gigabyte internal storage. Okay. Screen is that size, blah, 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 blah. Depth sensor, 2 megapixels. Selfie camera is 16 megapixels. Now, I do enjoy taking some selfies, so I don't know about that. USB Type-C. Well, all right, we'll see what happens. Maybe let me think on this for just a minute. It would be cool, but I already have a multitude of phones. So I don't know that I'm going to need another one. But again, this is less of a need and more of a want. However, I'll be honest with you. I am interested in the roadside assistance, for example. I think that's kind of cool. The telehealth I don't really use, but I do know some people who are crazy. So maybe I could use it for. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's Donald Trump's brand new venture. And I don't know yet if the Democrats have lost their minds over it. I'm assuming they have. I'm assuming they're already. In fact, you know what? Let's go to the Twitter and see what all the Democrats are saying about the Trump phone. If while President Obama came out with his own phone, y'all would lose your damn minds. Trump does it, and you're all like, sure. Okay. Let's see. On the 10th anniversary, okay, this is all just, well, I follow a lot of conservatives, so right now you're just seeing all the conservatives. Chicago One Ray, raise your hand if you're going to get a new Trump phone this November. Who's with me? Doesn't look like a lot of people. Jeff Carlton, I would seriously consider a Trump mobile phone when I buy another. Made in America, that is good. With American tech support, those are features I can appreciate. Trump Mobile is $47.45 a month for unlimited everything, includes roadside assistance, and you can bring your own phone. Cat Turd, the new Trump phone is fire. I mean, do you need a better endorsement than that? This is pretty cool. So the early endorsements are pretty solid. I just seen a Donald Trump supporter who said they're going to buy the new Trump Mobile because they're tired of paying a $300 plan for a family of 4. Remember, the Trump phone is $550 for the plan. Pardon me. But you can bring your own. You can bring your own phone. I don't know. I'm going to think on it till the end of the show, and I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to make a decision right before the end of the program here whether or not I'm going to invest in the brand new Trump phone. And I think, you know what? Here's the good thing. Because of the nature of what I do for a living, because I'm a political podcaster, and because this is a political story, and because I potentially could become an endorser. Hang 1 second. Hey Siri, text Laura Trump. Let me know if you are looking for celebrity endorsers for Trump Mobile. I know a guy. Let's see what happens. I'll do the sunglasses emoji. Okay. Sent. We'll see what happens. Maybe down the road, if I use the phone and it works well, whatever, yada yada, I would become a celebrity endorser for Trump Mobile. But I'll make a decision here. I'll make it. See, September's kind of tough for me because it's not my birthday. It's not Father's Day. There's really nothing to celebrate. Although it would make for great content. That's the other thing. when you're in this line of work, when you do this, what I do, which is really hard to describe to people, I can buy the phone, I can do an unboxing video, I can put it out there on the internet, I can make some content with it, I could talk to you, I could text you guys. That's the other thing. I could create a Trump phone with a new number and I could just text you and we could have like text conversations. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make it part of the show. Maybe you could text. Oh, here's something else I could do. For a donation to Mark Kaye for Congress, I could give you my text number and we could be in communication. That's me. I like that idea. Raise your hand if you like that idea. I get the Trump phone. And then if you make a donation of, say, I don't know, $50 or more, you get the number so that you can text me and we can have convos. I think that's not a bad idea. Maybe make like a big text chat group or something like that. That's kind of a cool idea. I think maybe we'll do that. Anyway, listen, Mark Kaye for Congress is underway and it's going really swell. In fact, somebody asked me the other day, I was at the bank earlier today because we had some issues with something or other, but I think we straightened it out. Anyway, a couple people were asking me, they're like, when are you going to start doing events? And I said, I've been doing events. They said, no, when are you going to do, those cool events, like fundraising events? And I said, well, right now the fundraising event I have is people going to the website and donating money. And they said, right, but have you thought of like doing a golf tournament or doing, a pickleball tournament or something like that? And I don't have the staffing right now for whole tournaments, but I do remember that there were a couple charities that I worked with and they would do like a golf outing. Like, for example, if you wanted to, what do you call it? Go play golf with me. Like we get a foursome, right? Together. So it's me and I guess 3 other guys. So if there's like 3 or people, I guess. So 3 other people want to play golf with me, they would pay this much money. And then we would go out and we would play 18 holes of golf. We would have some lunch. We would yuck it up. It would be a blast. And then that money would go toward the campaign. So that's something I was thinking about. I was like, all right, I could do a round of golf and charge people, a bunch of money. Like if you make a really big donation to the campaign, we'll spend the day together. We'll go play golf and have lunch. The thing is though, I suck at golf. And I was talking to my friend about that. I go, what about if I did a golf outing? And they said, that's cool, but you suck at golf. And I thought to myself, right, but then that's the benefit, because if anybody has any moderate golf talent, they're like sure to win. like if you want to not only play golf with Mark Kaye, but beat the pants off of Mark Kaye, it's going to happen. I once went to play 9 holes of golf with my son and I brought 9 balls. And I couldn't play the entire 9 holes because I'd lost all my balls by the 8th hole. And so I was like, well, I think teeing off for the 9th, I was on my last ball and it went into the woods. And so I basically lost 1 ball per hole, which is about average for me. So look, if you're interested in something like that, we could probably work something out. Something else that we were going to do like a high-end dinner, like at Three Forks Steakhouse or Ruth Chris or something, and rent out a room and get, the prime filet and some nice wine and some appetizers and do like a 10-person dinner, charge an arm and a leg for it. But of course, all that money goes to the campaign so that we can go to Congress. That's something else that's like an intimate setting. We'll do some like fun photos. We'll do some other kind of stuff. And then there was another idea, which I'm still working on finding a venue for, and that is the live podcast. The venue I was hoping for is under construction, and I don't know when it's going to be not under construction, but when it does open up, it's going to be beautiful, and we'll of course reach out to them for doing something. So there's all kinds of different ideas. If you want to make a donation and beat me at golf, that's one idea. Pickleball, I'm also up for some pickleball. If you want to do like some pickleball, we have a pickleball court here at the club, so we could use that. We could do a pickleball, mini tournament. Anything at all would be, because that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to get into some events so that we can really build up our income. In the meantime, if you're like, I don't want to do any of that, I just want to support you, fantastic. MarkKayForCongress.com is where you go to donate. MarkKayForCongress.com. Any amount up to $3,500, which is the legal limit allowed by the FEC, is very much appreciated. And I should shout out at this moment, Jeff Tim, who dropped a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate it. Mark, win. Contact Brandon Herrera. He almost beat an incumbent rhino in Texas. Oh, I think I know that. I think I know the name Brandon Herrera. Although, I'll be honest with you, I'd like to talk to people who actually beat the rhinos. That's the thing, because people always come up to me. They're like, I talk to all these I talk to all these consultants now because I'm being inundated with consultants. And they're like, oh, I almost won this race and I almost won that race. And we got really close to beating this person. And we got within 3,000 votes of winning this race. And I go, did you actually ever win any races? And they're like, we got close. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I talk to the people that have won the races. But again, all of it costs money. And that's why we're in the fundraising stage. But Jeff Tim, again, thank you so much. If you would like to make a super chat, or if you would like to do a Rumble rant, we will shout you out. Whatever your message happens to be, we will get that on the air ASAP. So something weird happened just before the show. I was watching President Donald Trump. He's at the G7. The G7 is in Canada. Oh, sorry, I meant this one, but this one also works. And I don't know if the Canadians, they don't really host. I don't think they host a lot of things, or they're not used to hosting things, or they're just Canadians. So they do this weird Canadian. They have this weird Canadian way about them. But anyway, so the Canadians are out there and they're hosting the G7, and they've got President Donald Trump out there, and you can see Georgia Maloney and all these other people, and Keir Starmer's there, and the guy from Japan. And this is like a big summit, and Donald Trump is coming out, but they're doing this introduction video. It's like an outdoor presentation, and Mark Carney's there, and they're doing it in front of a waterfall. So all you hear, like I was listening to it for 30 minutes. I was like, why do I have to go to the bathroom so badly? It's because they're standing outside of a waterfall, and all the microphone is picking up really is the waterfall.
Honorable Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. L'honorable Donald J. Trump, Président des États-Unis d'Amérique.
I could barely hear the announcement. It was so muffled. And the microphone's like right in front of the water. I mean, that's horrible. It sounds like I'm on the river. And you can't hear what Mark Carney and Donald Trump's like talking to Mark Carney. You can't hear what he's saying. He's introducing him to his wife. And they're all just standing there. I'm like, why am I just listening to water? It's like one of those things you put on when you're going to go to sleep, right? Like the rain sounds or whatever, or the peaceful. Yeah, they're in Kananaskis. It's horrible. It's like, get away from the waterfall. I don't understand why Canadians. That's why if it's an important job, if you've got something important to do, you never give it to Canadians. There's no Canadian out there that would ever like, you know what? We're going to do this better than anyone, eh? They're going to, and that's proof. That's proof positive. But Donald Trump is there. He's out there now, and he's there with his entire team, and they're going to be working on trade deals, and they're going to be working on peace deals. They're working on all kinds of deals. And one of the things that they're really interested in now is a deal with Iran. A deal with Iran, because what happens is Iran is now saying that they'd like to come to the table. What happened is Israel bombed the you-know-what out of Iran. And Iran tried to fire back, and then Israel just bombed them again and kept bombing them. And there's talk now of whether or not, the United States is going to come in and start bombing them, and the rest of the world is going to start bombing them, and their allies abandon them. China and Russia, basically, they've done nothing for Iran. Vladimir Putin got on the phone with Donald Trump and it was like, well, we should probably get them to stop before Iran's like, not even a thing anymore. And Donald Trump's like, Iran basically is not a thing anymore. So they have no allies. No one's coming to their rescue. They realize it. Their own people are really ticked off because they're dying now and they're getting bombed to, out the wazoo. And so everybody's calling now for Iran to back down, to just stop, to call a ceasefire, to say, hey, Israel, okay, we're going to cease all of our nuclear operate. We're going to make a deal with the United States of America. We're going to figure this out. And that's what President Donald Trump's been reiterating now.
Have you heard any signals or seen any messages from intermediaries that Iran wishes to de-escalate the conflict?
Yeah.
What have you heard? What have you heard from the Iranians?
They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days, and they had 60 days. And on the 61st day, I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war, and they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
Before it's too late. Donald Trump said, look, Iran's got to talk. They should talk. What's happening now is you've got Iran getting pummeled. Everybody knows it. Nobody's going to help them. Israel's not backing down. Iran needs to come to the table and talk. And that is something President Donald Trump said earlier. It's baffling to me still that people don't, like, Donald Trump is not, he doesn't lie, right? People always say Donald Trump's the biggest liar. If Donald Trump says, Donald Trump is not. Donald Trump is one of the most honest people. I can't think of anything President Donald Trump ever said that wasn't true. He said he was going to begin the biggest mass deportation effort in American history, and he did. He said he was going to build a wall along the Mexican border, and he did. He said, he said, look, we're giving Iran 60 days. He even got on the phone with Israel and said, don't bomb them yet. I gave them 60 days. And on the 61st day, Iran didn't come to the table, and Israel went in and targeted their nuclear facilities, and a bunch of their leaders, basically took out every single military leader in the country. That's pretty harsh. You don't bounce back from that pretty quickly. And Donald Trump is like, I told you. Why don't these people believe me? Why don't you people believe me when I talk to you? And it wasn't the United States of America, it was Israel, but Iran's familiar with Israel. They understand Israel's capacity, and they understand that Donald Trump has Israel's ear and vice versa. And if Donald Trump says you only have 60 days and then I can't help you anymore, you would think you would take the help, but not Iran rather. Not Iran. They only now are coming to the table because they're losing.
Can you give us a sense of what you're doing to try to de-escalate the situation between Iran and Israel?
Well, I hope there's going to be a deal. I think it's time for a deal, and we'll see what happens. But sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
Yeah, there's a good chance. We think there's a good chance there'll be a deal. And if there isn't, look, there's either going to be a deal or there's going to be no more Iran. And either way,
a common sense person doesn't want.
Pardon me, Tom Holman. Either way, it's a good thing for the rest of the world. Either way, it's a good thing for the rest of the world. If there's no more Iran, or if there's a deal with Iran where they de-escalate their nuclear capabilities, then it's a win-win. So I don't think anybody is complaining whatsoever. There was something I wanted to play about the big beautiful bill and Rand Paul. So Rand Paul was on the Sunday shows, and I want to see this. There's a clip here somewhere. Rand Paul was on the Sunday shows, and he was talking about the big beautiful bill. First of all, people are mad at Rand Paul because he was making fun of President Donald Trump's parade, and he was doing it on Meet the Press. And Meet the Press is on NBC, and NBC is a bunch of liberal whack jobs. So a lot of people who supported Rand Paul or who are on the right were mad that Rand Paul went on the liberal whack job network to bash Donald Trump's parade.
I'm all for the president appearing and doing enlistment ceremonies at military bases. I've been with the president at Dover to receive home our dead soldiers, and so those who have been killed in action, and to mourn their loss. But I just never liked the idea of the parade, because I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and the only parades I can remember are Soviet parades for the most part, or North Korean parades. And the parades I remember from our history were different. Everybody remembers that famous scene of the soldier, dipping the girl and kissing the girl in New York in a ticker tape parade. But we were rejoicing the end of war, and we were rejoicing our soldiers coming home. And that absolutely ought to be commemorated and discussed every year, Memorial Day, Veterans Day. But we never glorified weapons so much. And I know he means well. I don't think he means for any of this to be depicted in another fashion, but I'm just not a big fan. And then there is the cost. I mean, we're $2 trillion in the hole, and just an additional cost like this, I'm not for it.
Yeah. So everyone's like, look, Rand Paul's comparing Donald Trump's parade to the parade of the Soviets and the North Koreans. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like you can have a military parade and not have the kind of military parade that they had in the Soviet Union, or that they have in China, or that they have in North Korea. And I was at this parade, and it didn't seem at all like any of those parades. In fact, this parade was basically a celebration of the Army. And I know that because I was there, and it said, a celebration of the Army, 250 years of the U.S. Army, 250 years of the United States of America. It was a celebration of our quarter century. Is that right? Century is 100. No. Yeah. Wait. A century is 100 years. It doesn't matter. A quarter, 250 years. Wait, is a century 1,000 years? Wait, no, it's 100 years. Anyway, a 200, it's a lot of time. So anyway, I'll get it all. Wait, a century is 1,000 years, right? No, I'll figure it But the fact of the matter is, it's a celebration of the military on 250th year birthday. And I know that because it was all Army. It started with the beginning of the Army. They had a bunch of folks dressed up like Continental soldiers, which was amazing. Then they went through to the Union troops. Then they had World War I troops. They had World War II, Korea, all. And then, of course, they brought out all the modern stuff with the drones and the new Hummers, which were way cool. And then the helicopter, you had the Chinooks and the Apaches and everything flying over top. You had paratroopers jumping out, doing these tricks. I thought we all freaked out because this one paratrooper was like coming down and then all of a sudden just like boom, just nosedived into the ground and popped back up. But we all just thought he crashed. We were like, oh my God, that's not good. But apparently it was all part of it was all staged. We had howitzers shooting out, like 21 gun salutes. It was really incredible. It was an amazing thing to see. And it was a celebration of the 250th birthday of the Army. But it doesn't matter. Rand Paul wasn't a big fan. Rand Paul also said that he is open to signing voting for the big, beautiful bill. He's open to it. But there are, of course, things that he wants to see changed. He wants to see, of course, the debt ceiling gone. He wants to see it taken out. And that is the only thing that he believes will get him to vote. Yes on the big, beautiful bill. Now, the goal for that is July 4th. That is something that Donald Trump has set forward. That is something that Donald Trump has said we need to have happen. And it's strategic, of course, because we want the tax cuts permanent. Duh. I mean, who doesn't want that? Well, I guess except for maybe Rand Paul. But we also want to make sure that when the midterms roll around in 2026, the economy is booming. The economy is bustling. We don't want anyone to go, man, I just got hit with the biggest taxes ever. I just got downsized from my job. Everything's more expensive. You don't want that. You want the economy to be bustling. And with the big, beautiful bill being signed, the economy will be bustling. And if the economy is good, as we all remember Bill Clinton saying, it's the economy, stupid. If that's good, then what happens is you're going to see a massive Republican victory in the midterms. If, however, the opposite is true. If, however, the economy is bad, it's in the doldrums, people are spending too much money, they don't have enough money, they can't afford stuff, the value of their home is going down, groceries are too expensive, all this other stuff. If that's all going on, then what you're going to see is the Democrats have, they're going to have an opening. They're going to have a window. And the window could potentially give them control of the House of Representatives because people are going to be looking for change. They're going to say everything's too expensive. Donald Trump didn't get the economy back on track. We need a change in the House of Representatives. These guys couldn't figure out how to get the one big, beautiful bill passed. And that's one of the big dangers. In order to protect the Republican majority in the midterms, the big, beautiful bill needs to be signed before July 4th. That's Donald Trump's thinking. That's John Thune's thinking.
I'm a pro-growth conservative. So what you want to get on one hand, Shannon, are pro-growth policies, and that's tax policy, it's regulatory policy, it's energy policy that creates greater growth in the economy. When the economy is growing and expanding, people are making money, taking realizations and paying taxes, and government revenue goes up. And then on the other hand, you've got to start bending the cost curve down. And what we've been seeing is the costs going like this of the federal government. And this does bend it down, literally for the first time in decades. This will be the largest spending reduction in history. You're talking over $1 trillion, $1.5 trillion, up to $2 trillion. We'll see where we finally end up in the Senate. But it'll be a major reduction in spending, coupled with reforms to programs to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, and then also have on the other side pro-growth policies. You get greater growth in the economy, more revenue here, spend less here, and pretty soon you can start seeing things balance out. But you have to start somewhere, and that's what this bill does. And it is a big change from the way that things have been done in Washington for the last several decades. And again, I would argue it's the biggest spending reduction in American history.
Okay, so that's John Thune, who's a very boring speaker. He's not the most passionate. Like, you're not like, wow, that was a great verse, but he's solid. He's got a great explanation over there. And when I think about this, because people are always like, the great big beautiful bill, it's a spending bill, there's gonna be trillions of dollars of new spending. It's not really true. It's not new spending. It's spending, but it's not new spending. And he is right. It does cut down actual spending in the federal government. It mandates mandatory savings that we haven't seen in a long time. And as boring as John Thune is, he does have a point. This is not like a one-day turnaround. When you bring down government spending and increase revenue, eventually the two things are going to kind of even out. With Donald Trump's revenue enhancements like drill baby drill and energy independence and the gold card and tariffs and investments and all kinds of stuff that he's been able to manipulate over the last 40 days, however long it's been, that is going to, if that growth continues, if we see economic growth, if we see the growth of jobs, if we see manufacturing growth, then you're going to have more people paying into the tax system. The more workers you have, the more taxpayers you have. The more taxpayers you have, the more revenue you have. And if you bring down costs, then it's going to be golden. If you bring in all this manufacturing and you're creating more warehouses and more production and that kind of thing, that's something we all share in. And then when you add on the oil revenue and the gold card revenue and all the other revenue that Donald Trump's predicting, then you're going to be able to level everything off. The problem I have with the problem people have with the one big beautiful bill is that there have been people who have voted for spending increases or increases to the debt ceiling for no reason whatsoever, with no benefit to the United States of America, with no long-term plan. Let me give you an example. Last September, I guess, September, December, I think they did it twice. Mike Johnson and the Republicans and a bunch of people on the Democrat side voted to increase the debt ceiling simply to keep the government open. No tax cuts, no doubling of the child tax credit tied to it, no more money for the border, no nothing. They got nothing except the government stayed open. And as a result, they had to vote to increase the debt ceiling. They got nothing for it. If you vote to increase the debt ceiling, you probably want to do it for good reason. And this bill actually has some pretty solid reasons, as John Thune very, very blandly explained right there. It puts in motion a process which will lower the spending in government and increase the income. It's a first step. It's a better step than we've ever had. And without it, we're in total economic devastation, which is true. Because the taxes are going to increase on everybody and everybody's going to panic and the economy is going to collapse. So that to me seems like a good reason. Way better than just what they've done the last 3 times they increased the debt ceiling, which was, we basically wasted everybody's time and now the government's going to shut down. So let's just vote to increase the debt ceiling for 6 months. And then we'll deal with it again in March. And then we'll deal with it again in June and July. Now they've actually come together and said, we're going to do something. We have a long list of good things that are going to help every single American. We need to vote on it by July 4th. Here's something else John Thune said to Shannon Bream on Fox News Sunday. Here it is.
We're increasing the child tax credit, and if the Democrats had their way at the end of the year, the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act would expire, and you would have the child tax credit cut in half for working families. So we're not only going to keep it from getting cut in half, we're going to increase it. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime.
Does that survive?
Lower the tax on Social Security recipients. Yes, it will. Those are all things that were the president's priorities, and the House included them in their version of the bill, and now we will also have them incorporated into ours. So I don't know how they come to that conclusion. This is going to be very much about middle-income taxpayers. And as I said before, if we don't act at the end of the year, there will be a $2.6 trillion tax increase on families making less than $400,000 a year and a $600 billion tax increase on small businesses. So this is really about preserving and protecting families and ensuring that they've got more dollars in their own pocket and they're sending less to Washington. We're increasing the...
So here's the deal. You've got now, and this is interesting because there's one rule. When I wrote the Kaye Manifesto years ago, which many of you have read, the one thing is, if the Democrats are happy, you shouldn't be. If the Democrats are happy, you shouldn't be. And vice versa. If the Democrats are all ticked off, it means we're doing something right. The Democrats are petrified of the one big beautiful bill for all the reasons that John Thune, again, lacking personality and any kind of oratory skill, John Thune explained right there. He said, look, the Democrats, they want your taxes to go up. They want taxes on individuals to go up. They want taxes on small businesses to go up. They want to cut in half the child tax credit because the Democrats are about taxing taxing you at the wazoo, and then spending that money with all of their friends and all of the people that keep them in power. USAID, for example, all of their contracts that they dole out to the government contractors who help get them elected. And that money ends up right back in their coffers. Every single person that they go to and they give a contract to, or they give some kind of program to, or some kind of grant to, that money ends up right back in a Democrat's bank account for their midterm election or for their reelection campaign. And they fly them out on junkets. They give them great giveaways. They're doing all sorts of, they're living the lifestyle. I'm sure a lot of them are just getting, they're getting insider trading secrets for securities and things like that. So when you're looking at this thing, you realize that the Democrats hate it. And if the Democrats hate it, it can't be all that bad. If the Democrats despise it, there's got to be some good in it. And if the Democrats don't want it to pass, we really should think, okay, maybe this is something we should pass. And yes, there is always a contingent that's not about spending more money. I get it. There's always a contingent that's going to freak out and worry, and that's necessary. But at the end of the day, nobody wants their taxes increased, including Rand Paul. Nobody wants their taxes increased, including Thomas Massey. And I think that's, I would much rather have had the government shut down in December and September than raise the debt ceiling. Back then, I was like, hell no. In fact, I can go back. We were all talking about, we're like, shut it down. Shut down the government. Let it rest on the Democrats. Mike Johnson was too scared. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to take the blame for it. He thought that the Republicans would be the bad guys. He thought that it would be horrible in December over the Christmas holiday, yada, yada, yada. Shut it down. We were screaming from the rooftops. Let the government shut down. Let the Democrats figure out what they're doing. They're the ones that were always pushing the debt ceiling increase. Now they're not. Think about that. The Democrats have always been like, we got to increase the debt ceiling. Let's increase the debt ceiling. Okay, the government's going to shut down unless you increase the debt ceiling. That's what the Democrats always threaten. Now, all of a sudden, they're against it. Why? Because they know that what John Thune just said is right. This sets in motion a new economic plan for the United States of America that reduces the overall tax intake and deficit of the government. And if you reduce the taxes coming in, the Democrats don't have money to spend with their friends and cohorts. And they lose their power, and then they can't buy all those houses like Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, this guy, holy cow. Bernie Sanders thinks we're stupid. This clip, I posted this clip earlier. I don't know if Bernie Sanders is the worst kind of socialist, because like most socialists, he is a capitalist, right? But he realizes there's a lot of money selling socialist bullcrap to socialists. So he gets up there pretending to hate capitalism. Meanwhile, he's cashing in like he's Donald Trump. That's why I respect the Trumps. People are always like, Donald Trump's releasing shoes and meme coins, and now he's got a mobile service. And oh my God, that's horrible. Why? This is a capitalist country. The United States is built on capitalism. Donald Trump and his family are capitalists. They've never claimed to be anything else. Donald Trump, his entire life, has been introducing new products under the Trump brand. Over and over and over again. This is nothing new. He's honest about it. He says, I'm in the United States of America because I want to make money, and I do it through real estate, and I do it by offering premium services, and I make an offer, and if somebody wants to take it, they can take it. And if they don't want to take that offer, they don't have to take it. But Bernie Sanders, he's the worst because he pretends that he hates capitalism. He pretends that capitalism is bad. Yet this guy is cashing in. He's a liar. He's a cheat. He's a scam artist. He's a snake oil salesman. And he was being interviewed on some podcast, and he admitted that he owned 3 houses, but he tried to downplay it like that was nothing. Like everybody, like that's just common. I want you to first of all, listen to the clip.
Do I own 3 residences? Yeah, I do. I live here in Burlington, Vermont. We live in a middle-class neighborhood. Nice house. Guess what? I'm a United States Senator, and I own a home in Washington, D.C., as do most senators. You live there year after year. When I first when I was in Congress for 16 years, I rented all the time. But I got elected. Okay, got a 6-year term. You know what? Let's buy a house. So we bought a house. And guess what? Like many thousands of people in the state of Vermont, I have a summer camp. It's a nice one on Lake Champlain. That's it.
Okay, that's it. Okay, so Bernie Sanders Bernie Sanders is saying, look, do I have 3 homes? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But it's not as bad as you think. It's not. I have my one residence in Burlington, Vermont. It's a middle class neighborhood. Very nice house. Okay. A middle class neighborhood in Burlington, Vermont. The median home price, okay, the median, meaning the average home price in Burlington, Vermont is $531,126. Let's just call it $500,000. And that's the median. I'm guessing if it's Bernie Sanders and he's in a nice house in a middle class neighborhood, I'm going to guess it's closer to $1 million. I'm going to say probably 700,000. Let's just give him, let's say 750. All right. Let's say he's not the median average house, but he's not like top. We'll say his house in Burlington, Vermont is $750,000. Okay. That's house number 1. His second house, which he tried to downplay, was a home in Washington, D.C. Okay. Washington, D.C. is very expensive. Like most senators, I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm there for 6 years. I go, we should buy a house. So I have a place to stay. So I'm not renting. So he buys a house in Washington, D.C. Now, houses in Washington, D.C. can get up into the millions. But the median home price for a house in Washington, D.C., the median is $780,000. Again, I'm going to stipulate that Bernie Sanders probably has a nicer than average house in Washington, D.C. I'm going to stipulate that he's probably close to Congress, which is where you need to be. And I'm going to say he's basically not living in a hellhole. I'm going to put the average, I would say this is low, but just to keep the math easy, I'm going to say 1,250,000. Okay. So now he's got a $750,000 house in Burlington, Vermont, a $1.25 million house in the district. We're up to $2 million already. And then he goes, and then like most people, like thousands of people in Vermont, I have a house on Lake Champlain. I have a camp. I got a camp on Lake Champlain. Okay, let's look at Lake Champlain. Medium home price on the water. The median home price for a home in Lake Champlain on the water is $600,000. So let's just call it another. I'm just going to call another 750. So we're up to $2.75 million worth of real estate. Okay. And Bernie Sanders is downplaying it like he's just your average Joe. I only own one house. I'm going to be honest with you. I want more. Right now, I only own one house. When I become a congressman, I'm probably going to be sleeping on the couch for the first term because that's how it goes. Bernie, look, I got 3 houses. Yeah, but here, all I have is one home in Burlington, Vermont, one home in Washington, D.C., and a camp on Lake Champlain. But that's totally normal. But how did he afford all of these residences? Well, here he is to tell you.
Now, how did I get the money? You're right. I wrote 2 best-selling books, including this book on capitalism. It was New York Times bestseller for a while. And also another book was a youth book. And I make, $175,000 a year. And that's more or less how I became the zillionaire that I am.
Okay, so Bernie Sanders is saying, I wrote a couple books on capitalism, and I made a lot of money from them. Now, you might be thinking, if writing a book on capitalism makes sense that you would write a book on capitalism and make some money because capitalists want to learn about capitalism. That's not what his book is about. His book is called It's Okay to Be Angry About Capitalism. It's okay to be angry about capitalism. Yeah, especially when the author of that book is spending $2.75 million on real estate and telling you, that's totally normal. He makes $175,000 as a senator. And the rest of the money he makes taking advantage of capitalism by selling books about capitalism being horrible to socialists. I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't mad at Bernie Sanders. I'm mad at these idiots who are buying into Bernie Sanders. I'm not mad that Bernie Sanders found a way around the system. Bernie Sanders found his niche. Fantastic for Bernie Sanders. He found that niche and he is going to ride it all the way to Lake Champlain. He's going to hold on to that. Look, he's not going to be in Washington, D.C. forever, but that house, when he sells it, is going to make him a lot of money. If he bought that, how long has he been in the Senate? For, gosh, ever? If he bought a house his first term in the Senate, that house has escalated in value. He's going to sell it. He's going to make a lot of money. One day, maybe he'll sell his camp on Lake Champlain. He's going to make a lot of money. Plus, let's be honest, there is the added, and I know this is going to sound weird, but there is the added incentive or the added, I guess you would say, intrinsic value or sentimental value, rather, that some crazy person is going to have in buying Bernie Sanders' home. It's just going to happen. Bernie Sanders is going to put his home on the market and he's going to be able to get top dollar because he can say, hey, this is Bernie Sanders' house. Bernie Sanders slept here with his millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars. And I slept right here. Now you can buy my house at a profit. And then I'll kick in a book about how bad capitalism is. I love my favorite, by the way, my favorite Bernie Sanders. Look, again, I am a capitalist. Okay. I make no bones. I'm the Donald Trump capitalist, though. Donald Trump and I, we're the same. He tells you, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to make money, but I'm going to offer you something in return. And if you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. Bernie Sanders convinces you that capitalism is bad and that these people are evil and that they're just out to cheat you. And if you don't believe me, buy my book. Bernie Sanders, when his last book came out, It's Okay to Be Angry About Capitalism, he did a book tour and he went out and he did book signings, but it wasn't a free book signing. You had to pay $99 to meet Bernie Sanders and get his autograph on a book, which you also had to buy. You bought the book, you bought the upsell, then you went and you took your book, which you paid $30 for, and then you got to go to a VIP event, which you paid another $99 for, and he signed your book. And the book is called It's Okay to Be Angry About Capitalism. And that wasn't a fundraiser. That wasn't for his campaign. That was straight in Bernie Sanders' pocket. And that's how come he can afford a house in Burlington, Vermont, and a house in Washington, D.C., and a house on Lake Champlain. If you would like to afford those things, I'm going to make you an offer as well, because I have recently recorded my Dollars for Followers Masterclass. It's where you learn my secret formula, the one I use every single day, that turns your followers on social media into dollars. Looking at the number of people you have on social media, looking at what they're interested in, and then coming up with offers that you can offer them in exchange for money. This is something we did repeatedly for months. It was very popular. I use examples from my own social media, from my own books, from my own merchandise. Here's a bunch of people that went through the course. Megan said, thank you, Mark, for the fantastic Dollars for Followers Masterclass. The evening was both enjoyable and enlightening. I truly appreciate you taking the time to review my business. Jill Sim said, it's an awesome layout of what's possible. I'm starting a bookkeeping business and need to be able to advertise in whatever way I can. She's doing it now with Dollars for Followers. Kristen said, the masterclass was really informative and I got a lot out of it. Carl said, I am completely rethinking, redesigning, and rebuilding my entire company after this webinar. Yes, it's worth it. D. Dockery, I took Dollars for Followers, and as I watched another person get a profile review, I realized my Liberty page on Facebook was being restricted. I took the steps to take the one issue off my account. Now it's monetized. People are making money the exact same way I am because I'm showing them, and they're doing it with Dollars for Followers. There's a link in the description of this video, or you can go to dollarsforfollowers.com, and you don't have to wait for the masterclass. It is available right now. It is all pre-recorded. You just go there, you download it, you watch the videos, and you learn everything that I do every single day on social media to build an audience, to serve an audience, and then to make offers to that audience that they're going to love. So I can change my followers into dollars, and I show you exactly how you can do the exact same thing. $97, 100% satisfaction, money back guaranteed, which means if you don't like it, you get all your money back, which means there's no reason not to do it. dollarsforfollowers.com. And unlike Bernie Sanders, there's no hidden. I'm doing this so that you can make money, so that I can make money, and so that we can all buy 3 houses in various different parts, in various different parts of the country. Look, we're going to be following along with President Donald Trump at the G7, which by the way, he started the G7. I want to play this. He started the G7 by bashing the G7. That's one of my favorite things about President Donald Trump. I want to see if we have it here. Trump G7. The first thing he did, he was asked a question about the G7, and the first thing he said was, oh, here it is. This is great. This is a great clip. He started talking about how the G7 used to be the G8 until they threw out Russia, and how that was the dumbest idea ever. Listen, this is Donald Trump at his just not giving a you-know-what.
I look forward to that. The G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in. And I would say that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in. And you wouldn't have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago. But it didn't work out that way. But it used to be the G8, and now it's, I guess, what's that, 8 years ago, it switched over. They threw Russia out, which I claimed was a very big mistake. Even though I wasn't in politics then, I was very loud about it. It was a mistake in that you spend so much time talking about Russia, and he's no longer at the table. So it makes life more complicated. But you wouldn't have had the war. Other than that, I think we're going to accomplish a lot.
Other than the fact that you guys all suck, this is one of my favorite Donald Trump clips. He goes, look, yeah, I'm happy to be here at the G7. You know, it used to be the G8, but Barack Obama, who preceded me, that guy was horrible. And Trudeau, who preceded this guy over here, that guy was also horrible. They threw him out. And now what do? They get together every year, and he's right. They get together every year and they talk about Russia, and Russia's not there. It's like they used to probably just talk about Russia, or they were scared to talk about Russia because Putin was there. And they probably got together afterward in like someone's, cabin, and they drank maple syrup and, smoked. What do you smoke? What are you smoking, eh? That's what they do in Canada, is they smoke. We were smoking beaver, eh? Anyway, they get together with some maple syrup and some smoked beaver, and they talk about Russia. And then Barack Obama was like, if we throw Russia out of the G7 or out of the G8, we become the G7, we can just talk about Russia all the time. And that's exactly what Donald Trump's 100% right. So he starts off the G7 by talking about how it should still be the G8. By the way, I never realized until just now, Mark Carney, and if you're listening to the podcast, I'll try to explain it. Mark Carney has this massive curvature in his back. I'm not going to say it's a full-on hunch, but he's definitely got like some beginning, he doesn't sit up straight. And I know that with age and if you don't have the right posture, but his back is starting to give out, it looks like. And from this angle, if his nose were a little pointier and he's got like he's basically bald with a little tuft of hair and a really curved back. He kind of looks like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. If his nose were a little pointier and his teeth were a little more bucked, he would look exactly almost like Mr. Burns. If they ever did a live action version of The Simpsons, then Mark Carney could definitely play Mr. Burns. Smithers, I see you. That's neither here nor there. Hey, listen, we are going to follow the G7. We're going to follow the great big beautiful bill, and we're going to be the one big beautiful bill, pardon me. And we're going to follow the conflict in Israel, the conflict with Iran, the conflict in Ukraine. We're going to follow everything. And every single day, we're going to bring you the news that you need, the information you need. We're going to keep you energized. We're going to keep you informed. And we're going to keep fighting, not just here with the podcast and not just here with our YouTube videos, but we're going to be fighting literally in Congress one day with your support. So that we can, take the message not just to the people, but to the people's house. Because, I think about it. People always ask me, they're like, why do you want to run for Congress? That was a question at my kid's party. Right. Because I said all these people were coming in. They're like, so you're really running for Congress? I said, I really am. And half the people were like, that's amazing. You're perfect for the job. You'd be great. I know I'm going to tell everyone to vote for you. I talked to this one guy. I haven't seen him in ages. We were talking. I had no idea, but he's big in the Catholic Church. He's like, Mark, we're going to host events. He said, I can get 1,000 Catholics to vote for you. And I said, that's great. I need all the votes I can get. So he goes, I will work my butt off. I guarantee I won't stop till I get 1,000 Catholics to vote for you. And I said, fantastic. I don't care what their religion is. I don't care. As long as they're registered Republicans in Duval's 5th District, I'll take their vote. And then I had some of my son's friends who were all 18. They were like, Mr. Kaye, are you running? And I said, yes. They're like, Mr. Kaye, we're going to vote for you. I said, thanks, guys. And they're like, I said, get all your girlfriends, like everybody, everyone at your school has to vote for me too. They're like, we're on it. We're going to get the young vote. We're going to get the Catholic vote. We're going to get every vote we can possibly get. And then the other half of the people are like, so you're running? And I go, yeah. And they go, why the hell would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that? And I go, look, it's because something we can't have any more career politicians. The only people that want career politicians in politics are career politicians. John Rutherford, who I'm running against, is a career politician. He was sheriff forever. And then he said, well, what's the next thing I can do to pretend to work and make a lot of money off the taxpayers? Oh, I'll go to Congress forever. And he did. He had no intention of retiring. He had no intention of term limiting himself. He said, I'll go there, and I'm in a pretty red district, so if I win once, I'll probably just win over and over again. And that's exactly what happened. He won over and over again. The incumbent, it's very difficult to unseat an incumbent if you don't have name recognition and a whole lot of money, or basically both. And the danger is that if we wait too long and John Rutherford decides to retire, if we wait too long and any of these other Republicans decide to retire, the danger is that the next career politician, someone who's a politician now or was a politician in the past, they're just itching. They're like, great, I want to go to Congress and not have to do anything for the rest of my life and just keep winning over and over again and learn how to trade stocks and make millions of dollars and work 86 days out of 365. The dream gig. I want 3 houses like Bernie Sanders has. They're looking to use it as a political stepping stone. I'm not. I'm looking to use it as a place to deliver a message to the members of Congress that the people in Florida's 5th District and really around the country are sick and tired. We're done. We're done with the countless, endless vacations. We're done with the kicking the can down the road. We're done with the voting on stupid stuff. We're done with the getting arrested. We're done with all that stuff. And if we have to, and I have to go there and start screaming and yelling and I will point out every single person. I will point out every single person in Congress who is messing around, wasting your time, wasting your money, corrupt, all of those things. I'll do what Matt Gaetz did, and I'll walk around with a camera and say, oh, this person's office, here's the horrible things these people are doing. Oh, this person's office, yeah, here's how they're pulling the wool over their eyes. Oh, this person, you'll never guess what they did to make millions of dollars in something that's probably illegal or should be, but isn't. That's going to be me. Sure, I'll go to committee meetings. Yes, I'll go to votes. Yes, I'm going to do great things for the people in Florida's 5th District, but we're going to really work on rooting out the corruption and making sure that the people who go to Congress are not professional, qualified lawmakers, career politicians who don't want to work for a living and just want to suckle at the taxpayers' teat. We're not going to send any more of those people to Congress, at least not from my district, at least not if I have anything to say about it. And luckily, I have a lot to say about it. And if you would like to help, once again, man, we will take all of the help. We will take all the help we can get. We'll take your donations right now at markkayeforcongress.com. If you want to play golf or go to have a steak dinner, or if you want an autographed hat or something like that, hit me up. Because we'll work something out. Those are all, or if you have another idea, if you're like, no, you know what? I don't like any of those. Those are all stupid, but here's something I would like to do. Then by all means, let me know. Just send me an email. You can send it to mark@markkayshow.com and I'll get back to it as quickly as I possibly can. But we're looking for any and all things any and all great fundraising ideas, because we need the war chest. We got to fight, and unfortunately the podcast is great. Talking to the people is awesome. Knocking on doors is going to help. The hat's cool. But unless we have a lot of money ready to distribute, ready to send out there to battle when we need to send it out there to battle with palm cards and mailers and advertising and all this other kind of stuff, unless we have that ready to go, it's going to be a real, real difficult fight. And we're all about fighting here. We're all about fighting together. We're all about fighting every single day. We're all about staying sharp, staying informed, staying inspired, staying enlightened. We're all about knowing the truth. We're all about keeping our wits about us. We're all about sticking, being a cohesive unit of Katriots, ready to battle and fight, and win, so we can save the Republic. markkayeforcongress.com. Any and all donations, like I said, are helpful and appreciated. Oh, wait, we're going to have an after party too, right? Is it Monday? Yeah. We got an after party coming up. Katriots.com. It's coming up in 3 minutos. Let me hit the button. Here we go.